Hello! In this video I shall talk about the Ranger build. Ranger consists of hunting and nature masteries, and there are two distinct directions you could go with this class. You could either go the more popular route, which is an archer, or you could also go as a melee ranger, which doesn't make much sense when you think about the name, but this class can easily go as a melee where you will be using spears mostly. Let's go to the skills. Okay, I'll start off with the bow ranger because that's probably one most people will be going for. It is a good class for being an archer. It's one of the best to be an archer. And as you probably know straight away, in a hunting mastery, hunting is probably better mastery to go with first. And the tree you should get as soon as possible is the marksmanship tree. If you see, I maxed the entire thing, and that's got a lot of skill points in it. Try to get to scattershot as soon as possible, because scattershot is a killer. It helps to clear out groups of enemies quite fast, so it's a good skill. It's definitely a must for any archer that has hunting as one of the masteries. Right, some other useful skills. You got Woodlaw, which adds attack speed and also defensive ability. So if the enemies start swarming you and hitting you, defensive ability will help you. And you got Art of the Hunt. That's another very useful tree for any hunter. Really, gives you a lot of buffs. Except for the last skill in that tree, I only put 1 point in it because it reduces the duration of your entrapment if anyone entraps you in, say, like a web or a net or something. You just need one. Others will just add movement speed. So if you really want that, then yeah, you could go for it. Sometimes an archer needs to get away fast, so you might wish to consider it. You got Call of the Hunt as well. Another one adds some good buffs against beasts and beastmen in particular, and it also adds some like piercing damage. So you'd want that definitely. Volley is another brilliant skill because it means from time to time you'll shoot 3 arrows at once, like literally 3 at once. So that's useful. You got Study Prey, which is a good debuff. You also have another debuff in Nature, so you can go with either one of them. You got Plague in Nature or Study Prey in Hunting. So they both are fine. You just choose one. You can choose both, but it's best to just have one. They're both very nice debuffs. I think if I had to choose between them, I personally would go Study Prey because it's sort of like instant and all that. But Plague is pretty decent as well. And Herbal Remedy is another skill you should put at least a couple of points in because it's a buff which lasts for quite a long time, and it adds a lot of poison resistance to you. So if you know you're going to be fighting any poison dealing enemies or bosses like Kerberos for example, that's a good thing to switch on. You got instant poison resistance. I'll mention the nature part of the bow ranger. Heart of Oak perhaps is a very highly advisable tree to go for. Increases your health and all that. Yeah, wolves probably a good idea because I say you probably don't have to, but the wolves can really help. I mean, they're pretty much a central tree in nature mastery. So if you go in nature, you might as well go for wolves, and it's quite good because they can take some aggro off you whilst you standing aside and just shooting the enemies. The wolves will be just tanking. They probably won't be able to tank so well on normal difficulty, but later on they'll actually get quite good and they will be able to tank. Yeah, that looks like that's it actually, but there are some good skills. I mean, you have to really think about it. If you see, I went a bit overboard here with skills. It says estimate character level 69, so you might not even be able to max some of these skills. But if you really want to go for a pet-oriented ranger, you'll need to sacrifice points somewhere else, and I would suggest to pick up regrowth skills so you can heal your wolves. But otherwise, you probably won't need it if you just concentrate more on your own damage output. And yeah, like I said, there's plague here. You could either choose that or study prey in hunting. Nymph is another pet, but I think you probably won't have any skill points by this time to pick up a nymph. And Briarward, it might be alright actually, because it will sort of impede the enemy progress, you know, the enemies who try to get close to you. But once again, I don't think you'll have enough skill points for this. It's up to you really, see how it goes. But I think all the other skills I mentioned are more important for this build. Now let's go for the Spear Ranger. Speaking of hunting again, once again, hunting is probably better with the two masteries to start with. It certainly is faster to pick up in the beginning than nature. Nature is very slow to start with. One of the first skills you should get is Woodlaw, as I mentioned again. It's very good. And Art of the Hunt as well. And this time you're not going to be picking up marksmanship tree because as a spear ranger you won't need marksmanship. But instead you might want to get takedown, because takedown is a nice charging skill. You get right into the enemy's midst and smack one of them, and it has some health reduction to the enemy that you hit. So that's a good skill. Not its synergy. The synergy it's not that strong, but the base skill itself is fine. All the other skills I think pretty much the same. You got Wally again, and you got Herbal Remedy and Call of the Hunt and Study Break. I don't think you need anything else really. And Nature, I think Nature just stays the same really. Once again, with Wolves and Heart of Oak, your main skills. And yeah, you could consider going with a class that mixes both styles. So you could have a spear on one weapon slot and a bow on another weapon slot. But with that, you kind of become a bit of a jack of all trades, you know. So you wouldn't have enough skill points for going marksmanship tree and the spear related stuff. But I think it's feasible if you just balance it out a bit. It's quite possible. And let's just mention the stats. As I put here, bow and spear. With the bow one, it's better to go at a ratio of 1 to 1 between strength and dexterity. So you put about equal number of points in strength and dexterity, and you don't need anything in intelligence. The spear, you'd want to concentrate a little bit more on strength, because spears, they have more physical damage reliance sort of than bows. Plus, also, I think you might need a requirement, a strength requirement for some spears, although I'm not entirely sure about that. I think dexterity is going to be the main one there. But still, uh, your piercing damage output highly depends on your general physic damage output. And for your general physic damage, you need good strength. So if you're going as a melee ranger, then 2 to 1 ratio is better. And if you're going as an archer, then 1 to 1 is better. Yeah, so that's it with the ranger. Bone Charmer class is next, so stay tuned for that.